In the Absolute Universe, Oliver Queen is dead, slain by the Justice League, a consortium of evil billionaires who control the planet. They killed him after he planned to become a vigilante and take down a predatory businessman, Jubal Slade. And yet, months after his death, a mysterious vigilante in a green hood has murdered Slade and made it clear that those elites had better watch their backs. So, Hector Hammond hired Dinah Lance, a former police officer and MMA fighter, to track down the culprit. She was the perfect candidate for the role because of her connection to both Oliver Queen and Slade. Before their stock trading company, Greenarrows Trading, launched, they had been dirt poor and were neighbours of Dinah's. She and Ollie even had a relationship until she found out that he had been cheating on her. In the years that followed, their wealth grew, but while Slade became more depraved, Queen grew a conscience, and that's what got him killed. Dinah didn't really want to take the job, but her father is deathly ill and frankly she needed the money. She had been working lucrative bodyguard roles for vapid celebrities, but Hammond made it clear that she was the person for the job and she was going to take it whether she wanted to or not. When they went to investigate Oliver's home, they were pounced upon by the killer, who used poison-tipped arrows to kill another target, Reese Tyler, who benefited from the opioid addiction crisis. And when the killer cornered Hammond, he squealed, saying that he knew who killed Oliver, before having his arm hacked off. Dinah made the save, but she had to admit she felt good about watching Hammond suffer. And that is really partially what this book is about, this very human trait of delighting in the suffering of those we don't like. The book regularly shows mobile phone screens with social media posts presenting different views. Some are worried about the precedent being set by killing the loathsome individuals without a fair trial, while others celebrate their painful deaths. Dinah struggles with her feelings of isolation and hopelessness, which partially explains how she fell into this trap. Although, if you've been reading Absolute Green Lantern, then you'll likely share Dinah's feelings of glee at seeing Hammond get some form of punishment. Now, one of the lingering mysteries from the end of the first issue is what exactly Oliver Queen was getting up to, after Dinah and Malcolm Merlyn discovered a secret door that led to a room with a dead young man in it who was covered in eyeballs. What in the eldritch hell is going on here? If you are hoping for an answer in issue 2, well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, that mystery remains unsolved, but it has clearly upset Dinah quite a bit. She thought she knew Oliver, and there's no way she would even dream of him being caught up in anything like that. He was a cad, that's for sure, but he had morals and was for the most part decent. And Dinah's dreams are haunted by the idea that Oliver had a dark secret. After saving Hammond's life and stopping him from bleeding out, Dinah had been promoted to Merlyn's team. Together they will investigate the obvious suspects. They quickly learned that millionaire Roy Harper had an alibi, he was out of the country, so they moved on to Mia Dearden. She is a capable fighter and the pair find her burning her way through sparring partners at the gym. To describe her as hostile towards them is putting it lightly, but she agrees to answer their questions if they can give her a decent workout. So Dinah puts on her boxing gloves and climbs into the ring. Mia discovered she had a gift for coding at a young age, and she was one of the key engineers on the Green Arrows platform before it launched. She talks about how she was the one that raised concerns about Slade's behaviour towards young girls to Oliver, but he was hesitant to do anything about it because Slade was so essential to their team at that point in time. Oliver tries to excuse his behaviour, saying he'd just fallen into a bad crowd, that he'd talk to him and get him to change his ways. Ollie couldn't stop thinking of Slade as that dorky kid that had helped him graduate college. But at the same time, the amount of money they were potentially going to make made Oliver look the other way. Mia quit the company there and then, and this delayed the launch of the app. So it sounds like they left things on bad terms. But Dinah notes they have proof that Mia and Oliver had been in touch leading up to his death. Now, Mia initially avoids this by bringing in an interesting talking point, like how billionaire wealth has increased by 88% in the last few years while the number of homeless people has doubled, and how she views Dinah as a sellout. Dinah's retort is fairly strong. Posting on the internet doesn't achieve much. Boycotting one company in favour of another, equally bad company, helps no one. Everything is owned by the same 5 groups. It's the way the system has been set up. You cannot exist without engaging with them. But when Mia mockingly asks Dinah what role she had in Slade's child abuse, Dinah overpowers her and appeals to her conscience. The killer may be murdering bad people now, but what happens when he inevitably kills someone that didn't deserve it? And this is what they call foreshadowing. At this point, Mia tells Dinah that Oliver had been talking about his regrets in life. Chief among them was the son he abandoned as a young man, Connor Hawke. And just a quick reminder, if you are enjoying these videos, please consider subscribing. I can see that 60% of viewers aren't subscribed, and you watch an average of 4 of my videos per month. Hit the subscribe button to make sure that you don't miss out on any of them. Now, back to the story. This revelation doesn't take Dinah by surprise. Oliver had told her about Connor years ago, and while Merlin goes off to research this hitherto unknown son, Dinah goes and finds him. She tracks him to a seemingly abandoned mansion and almost immediately gives herself away. Connor has a gun pointed at her, but she quickly disarms him and explains why she's there. Connor doubts that Oliver cared about him as much as Dinah says, but he reveals that shortly before his death, Oliver had sent him a video message telling him to be extra careful because he would be in danger if his enemies knew about him. He also drops a bomb about Mia getting in touch with him and how he thinks she's obsessed with a product called Miraclo. Now, this went over my head on first reading, but when I read the issue for a second time, I remembered that Miraclo was actually a thing in the mainline universe. It's a super vitamin, but let's just call it what it is, a steroid, that gave the Golden Age Hour Man his superpowers for, you guessed it, 1 hour at a time. But what is it in the absolute universe? Could it be the source of that corpse that Dinah found in Oliver's secret room? And why is Mia obsessed with it? Before they can discuss it any further, a loud shriek rings out through the mansion, and Dinah comes face to face with another Green Arrow killer victim, strung up on the staircase. As Dinah approaches him, a new arrow is fired off, and the resultant blood splatter sprays in Dinah's eyes, blinding her. Enter the Green Arrow, who takes aim at Dinah. It's then that Connor appears and fires off a few rounds at the killer, who responds by doing a trick shot, bouncing arrows off of assorted trinkets to hit Connor in the shoulder with a poison arrow. And just like that, he dies. He was just a boy, Dinah says, but the killer tells her Connor had tried to kill him. If she knew what Hammond was really planning, she'd agree that turning the other cheek was no longer an option. And just as quickly as he appeared, he vanishes, leaving Dinah to mourn. So it's pretty clear that he isn't all that interested in killing Dinah. He has no reason to, but this whole situation feels incredibly fishy. Why did he need to blind her if he wasn't going to kill her? What was he trying to stop her from seeing? And what did Connor Hawke do that made the killer think he was worth killing? Shooting him while he wore body armor just doesn't cut it. And I'm reminded how, in Lovecraftian horror, eyes are presented as gateways to knowledge. It's part of why Dinah has that nightmare about Ollie having multiple pairs of eyes, because he knew what was going on. So I have to assume that Dinah's temporary blindness is also symbolic. There's more going on than she's aware of, and we are currently in the same position as her. When the police arrive, they inform Dinah that the first victim she found was a businessman called Edwin Zeitel, and he had just bought the mansion. What he had done to deserve being killed remains a mystery though, as does Connor's motivations for going there. But the most important thing is that Dinah feels like a failure because she had promised to protect the last remaining link to Oliver, his son, and she failed. Before she can fall into a self-pity pit, Merlin calls her with an update on his investigations. It turns out that Roy Harper's alibi wasn't quite as solid as it first seemed. He was currently in Star City, and he was last seen in a cemetery digging up Oliver Queen's corpse. So, this issue mostly ruled out one of their 3 suspects. I expect issue 3 to focus on their second suspect, Roy Harper, and then maybe they'll get to Tom Halloway, and I'm sure we'll learn some more terrible secrets along the way. Special thanks to my channel members, the Back Issue Brigade, because they help to make all of these videos possible. As well as getting their names on screen over here, they also get to vote on an exclusive monthly members-only video. I've just released one on Paul Dini's Dark Knight, a true Batman story, and there is one about the long Halloween coming, I swear, and they are currently voting on July's members-only video. The candidates this month are Batman Annual 14, the story that redefined Two-Face for the first time, a breakdown of The Dark Knight Returns, my favourite Batman series, Gotham Central, and the series that immortalised Lobo, Lobo's Back. If you would like to see one of those videos and have your say in which one I actually make, then join the channel now. I'll be back very soon with a video about Absolute Flash number 16. Hope to see you then.